Hello, viewers. Welcome to Red Card Africa here on Africa Soccer Zone. In today's episode, we are counting down the top 5 controversial decisions in CAF history, and we start at number 5. And this one is not a single incident. For years under the long presidency of Issa Hayatou, African football fans watched match after match where referees seemed to have their own agenda. Penalties given for nothing, red cards that defied logic, decisions that consistently seemed to favor certain clubs or certain nations. And a lot of people didn't understand. But the question is, who was in charge of making these appointments? Who was appointing these match officials? Who was putting them in charge of the games? That was CAF. That was CAF. Because it was very, very strange. It was very, very strange that you sit down and analyze a whole lot of things that happened during that time, during those times, and then you realize that a particular referee was always being put in charge of certain games to officiate the matches of certain clubs. And it raised a lot of questions. A lot of clubs complained, a lot of countries complained, and we are here today. Yes, we are here today. CAF says they are doing their best to improve things when it comes to officiating. Now we have the introduction of VAR in the game, which we were promised that it was going to make officiating, it was going to eliminate the human errors. But are we seeing that? Are we seeing it? Strangely, you realize that most of these errors still exist. We have officials going to check the VAR and still coming back to make wrong decisions. We have seen a lot of instances where the officials wouldn't even go to check the VAR at all because VAR officials wouldn't even call the officials the match official to go and even have a second look at the decisions that they are making. And whether this VAR is supposed to make things better or not, we are still yet to see. But for number 5, we are saying that most of these controversial errors that decisions that we witnessed in the past, we think that they were sanctioned by CAF because you are appointing the match officials. And so if you are appointing match officials, you must make sure that they are doing the right thing. So that's what we have in number 5. Let's go back to number 4. If you think number 5 is controversial, let's go to number 4 and see what the kind of decision CAF made in the past that we think that was crazy. Now, Morocco's expulsion from the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations. Now, if you cast your mind back to 2014, West Africa was in the grip of the worst Ebola outbreak in history. Thousands of people died. And Morocco is due to host the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations. And what did they do? What did their government do? Every responsible government will ask CAF to postpone the tournament because Ebola was spreading, and they wouldn't want the Ebola to spread to their countries because people were going to be traveling to Rabat, to Morocco to watch the games and all that. And so Morocco said, okay, because of that, we think that the competition should be postponed to another date so that we can assess the situation better. CAF says no. And they didn't only say no. What did they do? They stripped Morocco of the hosting rights entirely. Then they banned them from the tournament. Then they hand them a heavy fine as well. So you strip me of the competition. You ban me from participating. Yes, they moved the competition from Morocco to Equatorial Guinea. You ban me from participating in the competition. And then you also fined me because I asked for you to postpone the competition to a later date. Yes, we know that there were contracts, there were broadcasters, there were sponsors, logistics, and all that. We knew that if CAF had postponed that competition, it would have affected all these things. But the emotional reality is a country was punished for prioritizing human life over a football tournament. And that is very, very difficult to defend, no matter how many commercial clauses you hide behind. So Equatorial Guinea ended up hosting the competition for that edition, the 2015 edition. And we feel that this is one of the worst decisions that CAF has ever made. One of the worst decisions that CAF has ever made as an organization. We move to number 3. Number 3, this one, very crazy. Let's go back to the 2010 Africa Cup of Nations in Angola. Yes, the 2010 edition. And I'm saying again, this one is not just a football controversy. This is a matter of life and death. So in January 2010, after preparing in Congo Brazzaville for the finals, Togo were traveling into the province of Cabinda, and Cabinda is an enclave separated from the rest of Angola by Democratic Republic of Congo. So if you wanted to move from, or if you want to move from Cabinda to the rest of Angola, you have to go through Congo, DRC, if you are going by road. And that is what Togo decided to do. Even though per competition rules, they were supposed to fly in. So they were supposed to fly into Luanda before making their way to the northern part of Angola. But they decided that, okay, since we are already in Congo Brazzaville, why don't we move through DRC, through Cabinda to where we'll be playing our games? And that is what Togo decided to do. The decision had already been made. So they moved, their convoy departed, and they were going through Cabinda. Now, what happened? That's where things get interesting. Armed separatist gunmen opened fire on their convoy. And in the process, the assistant coach was killed. The press officer was also killed. This was a team that was just going to play football. Several players got injured. And Togo, understandably, they withdrew from the competition. Yes. After all this, we weren't going to play the competition. Yes, we can't play because players are still traumatized. Players are shocked. How are they going to get in the mood to play the games? So the government said, okay, we are withdrawing, and they did that. And what was CAF's response? What did CAF do? This is another shocker. This is another shocker from CAF. So CAF banned Togo from the next 2 Africa Cup of Nations tournaments. What was the reason? According to CAF, Togo withdrew without following the correct procedure. And this decision by CAF was not received well. A lot of human rights organizations, even FIFA, condemned CAF's decision to ban Togo. And eventually, under pressure, CAF lifted the ban. But the question is, why would CAF do this? Why would they take this inhumane decision at a time like this? That is why we have this as part of the top 5 most controversial decisions that CAF has ever made. We move straight to number 2. And in number 2, we go to the 2019 CAF Champions League final. And what happened in this final? There was a complete administrative collapse. Complete administrative collapse, because the things that happened during this game, you wouldn't understand. So it was a final between Wydad Casablanca of Morocco and then Esperance of Tunisia. The first leg was played in Morocco and it ended 1-1. After the game, Wydad, who were obviously not happy with the officiating, reported the referee, Grisha, from Egypt to CAF. And that referee was suspended for 6 months. Yes, just between the 1 week, he was suspended for 6 months. Now, in the second leg, which took place in Tunis, Esperance opened the scoring. So they were leading 2-1 on aggregate. The first leg ended 1-1 in Morocco. So 2-1 on aggregate. Late in the game, Wydad equalized. And after Wydad's equalizer, what happened? The referee whistled for an infringement. And the Wydad players protested. They said, no, this is not an infringement. This is a goal. And before this competition, or before the final, we were made to understand that there was going to be VAR for the final. So the first leg in Morocco, there was VAR. And the second leg, too, there was supposed to be VAR. We also saw the VAR on the not on the field of play, but where we usually have the VAR on the touchline. The VAR was there. And so everybody thought VAR was working. Now, Morocco, Wydad's players insisted that the referee should go and take a look at the VAR, only for them to find out that the VAR was not working. The screen was off. Yes, the screen was off. And why was the screen off? So apparently, officials were aware that, organizers were aware that the screen was off, but the players didn't know anything about this. And so what did that mean? That meant that the referee couldn't review the goal. And because of that, Wydad protested and said that they were not going to play the game. So the game was stopped for 95 minutes before the referee whistled for the end of the game and then awarded the victory to Esperance of Tunis because it was treated as Wydad had forfeited the match. So with that, Esperance were handed the trophy based on that. And what happened after that? What happened after that will also shock you again. CAF disciplinary committee decided that the game should be replayed at a neutral venue. That was the decision of CAF. CAF said the game should be replayed. And then Esperance said no, they were not going to replay the game. So they took the game to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And what happened? The Court of Arbitration for Sport upheld the first decision that ended up awarding the trophy to the victory to Esperance and the trophy to them. The court upheld that decision. And so Esperance were handed the trophy. They were declared the rightful winners of the trophy. So in just a short time, we had three different verdicts. First, CAF says, referee says, Esperance are winners. Then CAF comes back and says that, oh, the game should be replayed. Then what happens again? Then Court of Arbitration for Sport says, hand Esperance the trophy because they are the true winners of the trophy. So this is what happened in 2019. One of the craziest things that you would ever see in football. And it happened right here under the noses of CAF, none other than CAF. We move straight to number one. Number one is what we are all currently talking about, what we are all witnessing, something that has never happened in football. CAF's current decision has shaken African football to its core. Presidents, prime ministers, entire nations, entire continents are all reacting to what has happened. What has CAF done? So in January 2026, when the AFCON final was split between Morocco and Senegal, what happened? We all saw Senegal players walking off the pitch in protest over a late penalty that was awarded to the host Morocco. So for some time, they were not, some of their players had walked off the pitch, but they came back again and the game was restarted. Morocco was awarded the penalty, so they took the penalty and then they missed the penalty. Game went into extra time. Senegal scored in extra time and they won the competition. We all saw CAF handing over the trophy to Senegal. Fast forward, Senegal took the trophy from Morocco, took it back to their country, had a trophy parade, celebrated. Everybody saw it. In fact, there are videos, there are pictures everywhere online. You can see them. You can search for it, and then you find it yourself. Now, what happens after about 2 months? We slept and woke up one day, and CAF says they have overturned that result, and that they've treated the game as Senegal had forfeited the match, and so the rightful champions are Morocco. And that is what has caused this problem. The disciplinary committee initially ruled and upheld Senegal as champions of Africa. Then the appeals committee sat on the case again and overturned the results. They didn't just overturn the results. Other disciplinary measures that the disciplinary committee had put in place, including sanctioning ball boys and other things, the fines and all those things had been reduced. Players who were fighting with goalkeepers for towels and all that, all the sanctions that was applied to them, the fines and everything had been reduced. This is what the appeals committee has done. Senegal said they are going to Court of Arbitration for Sports, and it is going to take some time, but the verdict will come out. For now, CAF says Morocco is the champion. CAF President Mosepe has come out, has supported the verdict and everything. He says CAF is ready to accept whatever verdict the Court of Arbitration for Sports comes out with. And that is what we are all waiting for. Viewers, so these are the top five controversial decisions that CAF has ever taken. Yes, CAF has ever taken. These are the decisions that the top five, the most controversial of them. These are the five that we have summarized for you in this episode of Red Card Africa. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode. If you liked this episode, then please kindly subscribe to our channel. But first, before you do that, do well to tell us which of these controversies you like the most. Which of them do you think you were shocked to hear? Drop it in the comments below. And if you are also here again, once again, subscribe to this channel. Don't just watch the videos. Please hit the notification bell so that when we drop the next one, we are going to drop another one. When we drop the next one, we want you to be the first person to see it. Subscribe to the channel, please. Thank you very much, and see you some other time.